Some games are better played solo. Today, we're being completely selfish and we'll tell you about 10 of our best games for a single player. These are the games that are best experienced alone, with a heaping load of snacks, sweatpants, and 4 hours of free time to burn all alone. Playing with friends is great, but sometimes multiplayer is just out of the question. Anyway, let's get started.
Yeah! That attack worked! That must be a weak spot.
Let's kick things off at number 10, we have Scarlet Nexus. This anime action game pushes hack and slash combat in strange new directions. In Scarlet Nexus, you can play as one of two characters, recruited into a military force to combat the mysterious invaders called Others, that occasionally rain down from the sky and terrorize the planet. These Others might be some of the weirdest, coolest enemy designs in gaming. They're like something out of Bloodborne or Silent Hill, with weird, feminine features combined with monstrous plant appendages that sometimes just look like furniture at times. The creatures are strange, and the anime story only gets stranger as you progress. But it's the combat that keeps us locked into a completely single-player game. Playing as an Other Slayer, you can lift and throw environmental objects around you, or borrow the powers of nearby teammates. Full of responsibilities and tailored skills, combos, this is a game that only works in single player, and progression is boiled down to some of the simple stuff. The game lets you really focus on fighting monsters, and that's what we're liking about Scarlet Nexus.
I am a god! Obey me! As you obey the gods!
At number 9, we have Rise, Son of Rome. Back to ancient history a bit for this one, but Rise is still one of the best looking video games of all time, and this is a game that launched with the Xbox One. It has taken a long time to go back to the Colosseum in Rome for one of the prettiest games ever made. What sets Rise apart is its simplicity. This is a game about chopping off limbs that aren't trying to be complicated. Hack and slash is one of the most accessible since God of War. The campaigns are a thrill ride, full of burning cities and martial invading barbarian hordes. The time period hasn't been exhausted yet in video games, and playing as an unstoppable Roman soldier is still a unique thrill that we haven't seen in other games lately. Besides, there's something to be said for how simply all the mechanics work together here. The combat isn't complicated, but it's so damn satisfying to time your blocks perfectly, to parry and slash all your enemies to ribbons. There is a co-op arena mode, but some things are best left to solo players.
Could that be a chaos gear? Greedy little thing. Perhaps it's time for a crash diet.
Next, at number 8, we have Bayonetta 3. Now that Bayonetta has a trilogy of games, it's time to take a closer look at her third outing, just because Bayonetta 3 was divisive at launch. Some people hated this game, some people loved this game, but now in 2025 we can look at it a little more. The game is a handy convenience, bundled with a third game that allows us to just play some of our favorite difficult levels whenever we want and improve our skills or try to aim for high scores if you're into that sort of thing. But as a single-player experience, Bayonetta 3 is everything. The over-the-top spectacle, mounted levels, and singular control of your every character ability during cutscenes, it all makes us feel like the boss of the universe. It's difficult to put into words the power of Platinum Games, and even though different people played on Bayonetta 3, this was a fun exercise for us as sickos who like to test the limits of what a game can achieve. It's a really impressive game with plenty of stuff you could say about it and its place in the entire trilogy, but ultimately, know that it is a single-player game through and through, and one of the best single-player games during its time.
I see a fellow broken one. You must accept your brokenness.
At number 7, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. It's the biggest, boldest, and most vividly beautiful in the series. This might be a hot take, but this delightful little single-player action game also ranks among our favorites ever. The first Ratchet & Clank game is less than the sum of its parts. The weapons aren't quite what we remember, and the jumping challenges can be a slog sometimes. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart boils down the formula to its most fun aspects. You'll always have lots of cool guns and lots of crazy playable sequences that barely give you time to breathe. It's one of the shorter games compared to others on the list, but the frenetic pace of scene-changing levels is too much fun to put down. Even after beating the campaign, all we want to do is jump back into New Game Plus to check out the more powerful Omega weapons. Rift Apart doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it makes the wheel, as in the wheel that it invents, feel like the most fun single-player Ratchet & Clank kart you could possibly ride on. Next up at number 6, we have Ghostwire Tokyo from the creative talents behind the Evil Within series. Ghostwire Tokyo takes first-person horror down a slightly different path. This isn't a jump scare kind of game. Ghostwire instead wants to creep into your bones and then rattle them with the dread of unknown specters. The opening plot of Ghostwire Tokyo is simple. One night in Shibuya like any other, a mysterious fog rolls in and covers one of Tokyo's largest districts. Everyone that touches the fog turns into a ghost, blown away to the afterlife. Then, apparitions bring their phantom children to the once bustling streets. These are some of the all-time best monster appearances, and they only show up in a single-player game. Ghostwire Tokyo feels made for the solo experience, as you're exploring this strange, twisted, open-world version of a city that doesn't feel like anything we've ever played before. The absence of so many other people makes us really feel like a ghost, wandering a land that's on the brink between both worlds. Even if you're just fighting invisible monsters with magic mount slots, hand gestures, Ghostwire Tokyo is a game that wants to keep you unsettled and on edge. You'll never know when the quiet of the unknown will be interrupted by sheer terror. If you're the kind of psycho that likes wandering around empty streets at night alone, this is the sleepless single-player game for you. Now at number 5, we have Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It's one of the best games of 2024, and it's a must-play for Metroidvania maniacs. Appearing on last generation and every other console, it doesn't take much to get The Lost Crown running. And thank God this is one of the most fluid action Metroidvania hybrid action games ever. The Lost Crown is a total reimagining of the Prince of Persia formula. It's part rewind mechanic from Sands of Time, part beautiful sprite animation of the originals, and all very fast-paced action game with exploration testing and fun platforming. Also, there are really creative boss fights and movement challenges combined with super cool combos when you want to kick a bunch of people really fast. The Lost Crown takes a while to introduce all the features, but they're essentially coming from just the beginning as things ramp up. And to top it all off, it's only fun. It doesn't feel like fighting your way through another Dark Souls-like. When you finally claw through this crazy world full of enemies, this isn't a huge game, but you'll wish there was more. And as one of the cheaper games on the list, this one does feel like some of the most bang for your buck.
Where you going there, sweet cheek? That's right. You're some kind of dish, ain't you?
Get away from me!
And at number 4, we have one of the more impressive remakes out there, Mafia Definitive Edition. Mafia remembers what immerse means in an immersive sim. It's not just about hyper-realistic graphics or incomprehensible button controls. Immersion is about getting you involved and feeling everything going on in a world. And Mafia doesn't have to be realistic for you to be an expert. It's weighted like nothing you played in a long time, thanks to some of the more modern games out there. The taxi missions aren't busy work. They're an opportunity to savor the city scenery in a way that doesn't feel like a standard open world game. You're not just blowing through cities and treating them like speed bumps. There are speed limits, police patrols, and the chugging acceleration of old cars that make our time in Mafia feel more real than many realistic open-world shooters. There's a reason people still play Mafia 1 even in its original form. What was once complete now feels totally unique. The opportunity to explore a historic American city with some of these fun things in this game, all while discovering a richly detailed personal story without cutscene interruptions or gameplay distraction, this is one of our favorite single-player total packages.
I didn't need your help.
Really? That's not what it looked like from where I was standing.
I had it under control. Why did Alfred send you?
He was worried about you.
Next, over at number 3, we have the Batman Arkham Trilogy. Now, if you're gonna try one Batman game, yes, just try them all. And these 3 games are some of the best, most celebrated action games of all time. These are games that changed the brawler combat system that a lot of games eventually mimicked or tried to mimic to some extent. These 3 games tell a gripping, grimdark story in the classic DC Comics universe. It's the Batman everybody knows and loves, right? Down to Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as the voices of Batman and Joker. It's also the best Dark Knight experience on any of the consoles, and in a smooth 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5. Now, whether or not you've read for the rides before, these dives into Arkham Asylum and the besieged Arkham City and the snowy streets of Gotham City laying down some justice on the noggin of any criminal, it's truly a fun time you want to experience. Now, Arkham Knight is the highlight of the series because it's just the peak when it comes to stuff to do. Some people don't love the Batmobile, but we think it's a nice change of pace. Ultimately, it's still an awesome single-player experience.
How the fuck do you know? Are you some kind of expert on all things extraterrestrial now? Look, I've been a lawyer a long fucking time, and I know a motherfucking conspiracy when I see one.
Now at number 2, we have Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. Now the debate will always continue between this game's story and the previous, but Wolfenstein 2 and the entire new Wolfenstein series from Machine Games will remain one of our favorite solo single-player shooting games. The entire quadrilogy is excellent. Wolfenstein Youngblood got this interesting new mechanics for a cooperative experience, but there's no Blazkowicz like the BJ Blazkowicz of the new Colossus. The second game is gross, shocking, and brutal in a way no other has really quite matched in 2025. It is a game of tonal whiplash as bodies are disfigured, friends decapitated, or blow up by surprise. And there's a lot about this game that makes us want to crawl back into a hardcore nightmare hole. It's got the same tough-as-nails first-person combat as the previous games, and bosses return to the reboot. Keeping with the gaming theme of difficulty throughout, this game still has its difficulty, but it's more fair throughout compared to the other games. What it lacks in consistency sometimes, it makes up in sheer visceral drive as you tear through near-future Nazi cities. Truly, it's whether you play for the insane story or the game highly customizable semi-stealth shooting action combo. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus is too crazy to ignore.
5 card hold 'em all right with you? Yeah? Can I offer you anything? Would you like some food? A nut, perhaps?
Now, finally, at number 1, we have Far Cry 3. It's hard to remember when everyone hated Ubisoft, and you know how they kind of handled the open world genre? It just is what it is. There was a time when the Far Cry series was some of the best in the open world gaming space. Now this Far Cry game was the one that got Ubisoft to such a massive forward momentum that it couldn't or wouldn't eventually be stopped. Far Cry 3 was a hit, and it made hits just like it, but the original still might be the greatest Far Cry of all time. Now, there are elements that didn't quite make the best impression. People have said a lot of things about the tropical island setting. Back in 2011, the graphically impressive island was one of the best open-world playgrounds to explore. In 2025, it retains that same really immersive feeling with jungles that you have to put effort into exploring, awesome hang gliding runs, and you can really feel like you're running for your life on pretty pristine beaches. Far Cry is one of those games we just don't feel like we can ignore when it comes to a definitive single-player list that you have to play at some point. But those are the 10 single-player games we recommend right now. We'll be making more in the future, so if you enjoy this kind of video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.